After the victory over the Titans, the world of Olympus was plunged into a long-awaited peace. Zeus, the supreme god, took this as a sign of final triumph over chaos. Gods and mortals lived under his wise, though sometimes harsh, rule. But deep within the earth, in the heart of Gaia, a new threat lurked. Typhon, a monster born of earth and Tartarus, created to avenge Zeus for defeating the Titans. Typhon was a creature of unimaginable size and strength. His hundreds of heads constantly hissed and spewed fire. His eyes burned with fury, and his voice resembled the roar of thunder. Even the bravest Titans feared to speak of Typhon, and the gods remembered him as a terrible threat lurking in the shadows. Gaia, angered by the fall of her children, summoned Typhon to rise and destroy Zeus and all the Olympians. Time passed, and one day, the world trembled. The earth split open, and from its depths emerged a creature so terrifying that its scream made mountains shake and oceans surge with storms. It was Typhon. He raised his head to the sky and exhaled fire, invoking the wrath of Zeus. When the monster approached, Olympus quaked. All the gods, sensing the looming catastrophe, rushed to their leader. Zeus, with a grim face, stood atop Olympus, holding his mighty thunderbolts. He knew that the battle with Typhon would be the most dangerous of his life, and that not only his throne but the fate of all gods hung in the balance. But before Zeus could raise his hand, Typhon descended upon Olympus. The gods scattered in fear, overwhelmed by the sight of this beast. Poseidon plunged into the depths of the ocean, Hades retreated to his underworld, and Athena, Artemis, and the other goddesses fled to distant lands. Only Zeus remained, staring into the eyes of the enemy, realizing that he was the only one capable of confronting this force. Typhon approached Zeus, his many heads hissing with malice, and tongues of fire shot from his jaws, scorching everything in their path. "Zeus!" roared Typhon. "Do you think your power is eternal? You defeated the Titans, but now it is my time. I am the true ruler of the world, and I will destroy you as you destroyed my brothers." Zeus responded with a thunderous voice, his eyes flaring with anger. "You are nothing but a shadow, sent by an angry earth. My power is unbreakable, and I will protect Olympus from any threat." With these words, Zeus raised his hand, and a blindingly bright lightning bolt appeared in his fingers. He hurled it at Typhon, hoping to strike him down. But the lightning struck just one of the monster's many bodies, doing little harm. Typhon laughed with booming laughter, and his fiery breath grew even stronger. Zeus realized that this enemy was unlike any he had fought before. This was not just a monster, but the embodiment of chaos and destruction, and ordinary methods were insufficient. They engaged in a fierce battle. Typhon tried to tear Zeus apart with his gigantic claws, his heads spewing fire and lava. But Zeus dodged the blows, hurling lightning bolts one after another. Suddenly, Typhon made a sharp move, and one of his serpent-like arms grabbed Zeus, squeezing him so tightly that his bones cracked. Typhon's laughter was deafening. "Your reign is over, Zeus. You are nothing but a shadow of your former power." But Zeus, despite the unbearable pain, gathered all his strength, and suddenly a storm of unprecedented fury broke out in the sky. In response to his call, clouds covered the heavens, and the greatest storm the world had ever seen began. Zeus summoned all the forces of nature. Lightning and thunder rained down on Typhon with such speed and power that even the monster was taken aback. Poseidon's oceans rose, the wind lifted Typhon's clawed limbs, and the earth trembled under the blows brought on by the wrath of the supreme god. Typhon, though mighty, could not withstand all of this at once. The storm was so fierce that the monster began to weaken. In the final moment, when it seemed the forces were evenly matched, Zeus gathered all his power and hurled a lightning bolt that struck the heart of the beast. Thunder echoed across the land. Typhon roared in pain, and his gigantic body began to crumble. A massive wind lifted his remains and carried them to the depths of Tartarus, where Typhon was chained forever, never to threaten Olympus again. When the storm subsided, Zeus stood alone atop Olympus. His breath was heavy, but his eyes shone with victory. The gods, one by one, began to return, seeing that their leader had triumphed. Olympus was safe once again, and the world continued to live under Zeus's protection. But Zeus himself, gazing into the distance, knew that threats would always exist. Though Typhon had been defeated, chaos would never fully disappear. Yet he was ready for any danger, for on his side were not only strength, but the wisdom accumulated over centuries.